Today we have a fantastic guest, Jörg, and he does something very, very interesting. So let's meet Jörg. Hello, Jörg.
Hey Judith, thanks for the invitation. I'm glad to be here.
Tell us something about you that is very special, not in LinkedIn, not anywhere else.
Not anywhere else. Um, I have a pretty keen interest in most things like health and exercise related, and for the longest time I did a lot of rock climbing. I've been I'm a somewhat obsessive kind of guy. So once I start doing something, I don't generally stop very easily. So that applies to crazy work hours, but it also applies to hobbies generally. So when I had more time, this is well before kids, I was in a climbing gym or outside 6, 7 days a week, doing that pretty much whenever I had some time available. That is something that's probably not on LinkedIn.
Once we do it, we get involved and give it the full and get ourselves very absorbed in getting that
Yeah,
right.
and the inability to drop it and try to progress in it as well. It does become a bit obsessive. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
yeah,
like that in most things I do.
it's good. And many people in the industry would resonate that with you because it's a characteristic in most of us, and that is what makes us special and gets us drawn to ERP.
That's probably true. The people you meet that are genuinely interested in the work are generally the people who tend to obsess about making it right and making it work. Yeah, and they're the people I want to talk to. They're the cool people.
That is so true. And like for me, I got fascinated by ERP, and then that was the beginning of my career in ERP. So it's just the complexity of ERP that attracted me to it, and also the what it does to the world. It changes businesses, it changes people. So, yeah, in your case, what attracted you to this career?
But I came into it sort of sideways, I think. Uh, I have a bachelor of IT. It wasn't necessarily a computer science degree. It had so business mixed in. I guess you would call it a double major, I guess now. So there was some computer science, but there was also some data analytics. There was some business related, like what we call functional ERP now, mixed into that. And I graduated in 2004, got a job for about 6 months, and I didn't like it very much. Well, the company was nice, colleagues were nice, but I kind of automated everything I was doing, and I had nothing left to do. So then I came across actually it was my mom who came across a traineeship for an SAP internship kind of thing. And I joined that company just to see what that was about. So they did like a 3 month sort of crash course. This was in the mid 2000s when there was massive shortages in ECC resources, I suppose. So I started that way, yeah, and then I rolled straight into Philips Healthcare, yeah, and I've been doing that ever since. So that was in the beginning, it was a bit of basis and a bit of ABAP. Uh, yeah, that's how I started. So that came out of a 3 month sort of crash course. I didn't know much about ERP by that time.
Yeah, I think the similarity is like we're same age group, so we started careers at similar time, and my progress on ERP is after graduation. I did that. What do they call? You do a course for 3 months, and at the end you get a certificate.
Yeah, it was a
Then-
bit like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting. Most of us who started careers that way, we also have the advantage of knowing ERP in its full. Like we weren't learning just the modules. We were able to set up the whole company, if that makes sense, to be
yeah. It
able.
was a bit of everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I have to admit it was pretty helpful to have seen all of the different parts of like an ERP before I started and having that bit of background before I started as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think that has been an advantage for me as well personally. It helps see the whole picture. Like you can zoom in, zoom out that opportunity as well to see the whole thing. So
yeah.
that
That's understanding how things fit together from a what people do in their daily lives with an ERP. Like we work with like on the ERP, right? But
Yeah.
we're not necessarily users of the ERP. If you really put a gun to my head, I can probably create a sales order, but don't ask me to do anything fancy with it. No. But having a bit of background in what all of that is meant to do and how that is meant to work has been quite valuable to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time, I
And
didn't really see it while I was doing the degree. I should have done more mathematics. But I think in hindsight, it was a good thing to have.
very, very true. I think the world is very thankful, like, all the paths led to what you're doing now. So, with a lot of experience, you started your own business doing
Yes, I've done
that.
that in the last couple of months. Yeah,
Yeah. And
did
wonderful.
I did in the past. I did a lot of web development, sort of on the side, talking about the obsessive thing, right? So I did that in the evenings before I had kids. I did learn about web development in about 20 years or so. So when Fiori came around, I was quite quick on the uptake, and I've been following that path ever since. And that led to more like Fiori designs, application design, more like gateway strategies. That came to like technical architectures and solution architecture on like fairly large applications, often like really quite big Fiori developments and OData developments. And about 6 months ago, I had a chance to do something for myself. And since BTP has been my background the last 4 years, I think, and all of the stuff that comes with it, like your side-by-side extendability, PI, PO migrations, the CPI, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I saw a chance to start something of my own, so that's what we're focusing on.
And,
Yeah,
and
it's been an interesting journey so far.
and that's really good, right? So first of all, congratulations, because it's a big step of faith that you've undertaken, and it's
Oh yeah,
really good. So
very
thank you. And thank you for making the first step. And the other one is your contribution as such to the ERP community. So personally, for those who know you personally, we know how much value you add. And for others listening to it, would you be able to share your interest in where you add value as it through your business?
I don't think there are a lot of people in Australia anyway. I can't speak for anywhere else who do this sort of thing like completely end to end. I can, if there's 10 or 15 of us or something like that, I think you would start to exhaust the list of people who can, guide somebody from start to finish. And I have an interest in, uh, let's call it the educational side of things as well, because there is a lot of confusion if you come from the old ERP, ECC sort of background and you're now kind of, well, let's call it forced to look into S/4HANA and S/4HANA transformations and what you ideally should be doing to your landscape according to SAP. There's just a lot of confusion out there, and I try to help with all of that. Just I well, I like talking. I talk quite a lot. I think it got me to
Okay.
SAP made me an SAP champion, which is like the community voice kind of thing. And that's in part also because I talk and I like talking about what I do. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing that and hope that it works out.
And you're a demystifier. Like that's how I see
Yeah,
you.
okay. I like that word. Yeah.
Hmm. You come and make things clear, demystify it, so you give the client the clarity they need to be able to make the decision, or consultants the options they need to make the decisions that is right for them or for the client.
Yeah, that's right. And there seems to be a lot of misconception around what things are or how things can be. So we aim to make that clear and then help drive an outcome that suits everybody.
And in terms of the client base, right? So, like when we look at the clients who you can help best, you're looking for any client with an ERP who wants a impartial advice, can reach out to you. Is that a right way to say that?
Yeah, that would be a very good place to start having a conversation. I'm not at the point, nor do I have the interest to do an actual like end-to-end migration. I'm just a guy with some friends ultimately. Um, but I can definitely help kickstart the process to make sure that nobody is trying to, take you for a ride or something like that, which, also happens quite a bit. If you get the wrong advice based on self-interest instead of advice that is geared towards what your company wants to do, then it's easy to go down the wrong path. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I like. That and general application development or side-by-side extensions or whatever else somebody needs help with.
And you make a very good point, right? So the power of impartial advice, just having a friend to talk to is priceless. So you make sure you're informed, you make the right decision, and when there is options, you're the one who demystifies and clarifies those options for the client. So what you do is very, very important, and I believe there is a lot of what do you call value that you add to our community.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so too.
And thank you. So for those who are listening, if you are looking for impartial advice, and I'm sure Jorg is your person to go. So Jorg's value as an architect is immeasurable. So personally, I have worked with Jorg, interacted with Jorg, and there's so much of things that Jorg demystifies, which makes the decision making easier. So you definitely need to have that coverage, especially when you're navigating a space that you haven't navigated before. So what Jorg does is priceless. So York, again, thank you for taking the time to do this. And now to the final part of it, how can people reach out to you?
You can find me under my name on LinkedIn, or you can look up my company. I called it Shebang. You'll find it under Shebang Software. I found the name Shebang. I thought it was a name that brings a bit of whimsy to a very serious group of people generally. As ERP consultants, we tend to be very serious and focused and very business attire, and I think a bit of brevity is important.
Absolutely. And I like the creativity that you have in the name. So yeah, and that brings the creative side of you. It's
Ah,
very
yes. For those with a Linux background, you probably recognize it from the bash script.
Thank you for being on this episode. And I'm sure a lot of people resonate with you. Keep doing what you're doing. It is very, very useful for the community.